Keegan and Company. It's Keegan and Company, the company you keep. That's it. That's got to be it. Welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast. If you guys are new to the show, my name is Keegan Hipgrave, and in this episode, I'm joined by professional rugby league player and Australian Jillaroo, Julia Robinson. How you going, Julia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Hey, we won the morning.
We did.
What a morning we had.
What a way to start the weekend.
I'm so glad you came down because this morning I thought it was going to be like a little bit rainy, a little bit overcast, but the sun came up. We did a mad session active. Thank you. Shout out to Ali and Bart's at Active Gym in
It
Burleigh.
was hard. I don't think I'm going to come back.
We convinced, I went for a swim and a coffee with Liv Koenig yesterday morning, and told her that we were going to do a podcast this morning, and I was like, oh, well, come do a sesh with us. We're going to sesh, we'll have a swim, we'll have a coffee afterwards, and then we'll sit down and do a pod. And she's like, is it going to be hard? And I was like, nah. And to be honest, this morning was so much harder than I've ever done there. Okay. Usually it's like a bit of weight.
We came at a good time.
You came at like the best time ever. Like we rolled into it. I looked at the session and I was like, this is going to be big.
Hurt, yeah.
How'd you find it?
It was hard. I think Liv and I were just looking at each other like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We need to get out of here. No, it was good. Like, it's such a different kind of fitness, obviously what we're used to, but it was a really good session.
What's your training looking like at the moment? Because you finished up World Cup, finished up with the Jillaroos. What's training looking like now in the off season?
Oh, well, for me, like, I'm just having a bit of a break from like footy training. I'm just like staying off the footy field for a little bit. So just enjoying my own kind of training, like doing bits and bobs every now and then. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure pre-season starts next week.
What, really?
Yeah, for our local club comp, we start again next week. Like, I guess for the girls who are part of like the rep teams, like we can have a bit more of a break. So I feel like I'm going to slowly just start coming back. But next week, most of the girls are going back.
But didn't you get back like a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah. It's like it's pretty much no off season for us girls.
Really?
Yeah.
What would the comp look like next year? Because I know they were talking about bringing in another comp before NRLW. Yeah. Do you know much about that? Oh,
so it's still like our local club comp. So I play for Wynnum. Heaps of girls play for like say Tweed, Burleigh. So that season starts like in March, and that's how we get picked for Origin. Yeah. So that kicks off pretty much straight away.
The grind doesn't stop because you've been doing a bit of CrossFit as well. You're telling me just a day or 2 days a week.
Yeah, just like because my mate has a gym in Brisbane, so Verge. Shout out to Verge. Yeah. It's really good. So obviously get to see my mates and do some fitness, mix up the training.
100%. Hey, I guess I kind of want to start with a little bit of like how like your story growing up. Yeah. I know that you've been involved in the army, and probably a great way to start is growing up in an army household. Your mum and dad both served.
Yep.
I'd love to hear what it was like. Was it a strict upbringing, like stereotypical, or what was it like?
Oh, like we definitely had like good routine, and like it was like tough because like. For me, I guess I was kind of lucky because I was younger. Because we were obviously traveling back and forth from like different places. Because I guess in the army, you get posted every like 3 years. Yeah. So we never really had a home for like, say, 10 years at a time.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Did you struggle making friends, like bouncing around?
No, I didn't, because like I was younger, so it was fine for me. And like I still kept in contact with my mates that was like in Brisbane, like grade 1 and grade 2. And then I'll go down to Victoria. Make some new friends, and I'll still stay in contact with the Brizzy people. So it was easy for me, but like for my older sister, she's 4 years older than me. Yeah. So she was a bit older, so I guess it would have been harder for her. But when we got back to Brisbane, I was in grade 6, and then I was from grade 6 to grade 12, I was in the same place.
Great.
Yeah.
Is that why you wanted to go into the armies? Because your parents did it? What was the appeal?
Yeah, definitely like a big influence, like to join the army. And I guess I was still really torn about what I wanted to do. Cause I never really like enjoyed school.
Yeah, really?
No. Yeah.
Were you a troublemaker? A little bit.
Yeah, like pretty much all I wanted to do was play sport. So like I guess PE was my favorite subject going through school. But yeah, so I was really torn what I wanted to do after school, because I knew I just didn't want to study. I knew PT was definitely on the cast of things, but And then I knew in the army you could be a PTI, and that's like, so it's like a personal trainer in the army.
Right.
So I was like, oh, that could be cool. So I joined the army, but you can't do that straight away. When you first join the army, you have to do a year in the army, do a few courses, then do the PTI course as well.
Yeah.
So I joined as a truckie.
Yeah, okay.
And then I guess when I joined in 2017 and then 2018, that's pretty much when footy kicked off for me as well.
Right.
So I pretty much haven't really had the opportunity to do what I wanted to do in the army.
How does it work? You can, because obviously part-time footy, full-time work in the army. Is that how it works?
Yeah. So obviously, still full-time army at the moment, and I've been full-time for 7 years.
How did you know, like, were you one of those girls who like always thought that you would be professional sport? Because I mean, I imagine growing up, there wasn't that many full-time female athletes.
Yeah. Growing up, I was very like, I loved sport. Like I played netball for much of my whole life. And the only reason why I stopped playing netball was because I joined the army. And even when I joined, I hit up my coach, be like, hey, is there a netball? Do you know a netball coach up in Townsville? Because that's where I posted first. Yeah. And because I just wanted to get back into netball. And I've got heaps of friends like who I played netball with. They're in the Firebirds now. And like,
who's that? Who's in there?
Do you know like Lexi Baker? She's like one of my good friends. But she's finished with netball now. Yeah. But had Binion Hunt, Tara Hinchcliffe, and like Maddie Hinchcliffe, the twins. Yeah. Kimberly. Yeah, there's
Kim Rav?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the greats.
Kim. Yeah. So she played in the Cougars.
Okay.
So I didn't really play. She was a bit older than me, so I didn't play with her through like growing up. But there's heaps of girls doing so well.
Danelle's going well. Who else was in there? We met a bunch of the crew. Gabby Simpson.
You do know any of the Gold Coast Titan girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Briar Gapper.
Yeah.
We went to PBC together. Yeah. She was one of my best friends.
Yeah. So and her sister Jada.
Yeah. So Jada's a gun as well.
Yes. So I played netball with them all. So
no way.
Yeah.
It's such a small world. Like that's the biggest thing that I found in sport, and like not just rugby league, but all circles like AFL, netball, Super Rugby. Like it's wild. Like because you just start meeting everyone, and there's usually a pretty good crew around.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool like seeing them like obviously make it in their sport too. So,
but netball's one of those sports where it's like the funnel is insane. Like netball, grassroots for netball is probably
huge.
It's one of the biggest funnels that I've ever seen. Like talk about footy and AFL, but like netball, that's the predominant female sport. Yeah.
So I guess like I always like compare it say with rugby league. Obviously our game is still growing, and so for our local club comps, and sometimes like when we go to training, like not many girls like turn up or anything like that, but for netball, if you don't turn up, you're not making the team.
100%.
Yeah. So it's very cutthroat at netball. Like
can you see the grassroots shifting now with like the NRL rugby league?
Yes, definitely. Like I feel like from the beginning, like I actually never knew that girls were playing rugby league.
Growing up?
Yeah, growing up. Like I never, like even like, I didn't really watch NRL as well growing up. My household was more AFL at the time.
What was your team?
Richmond Tigers.
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're unbelievable. Yeah.
I know.
You're
and
unbelievable.
honestly, I don't know why. I just like Tigers.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I'll go Richmond Tigers.
You're going to sign with West Tigers as well? Probably not.
Yeah, no. So I got pretty much the first NRL game that I watched was the 2015 grand final with Broncos and Cowboys.
No way.
That's my first ever NRL game I watched.
So is that you started going for Broncos then?
I feel like I just started going for Broncos when I started playing.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, so as I said, like I never knew that girls were playing rugby league. So I guess when I started playing rugby in 2018. And comparing from then to like now, it has grown so much. It's wild, hey? Yeah.
And especially where it's at the moment, like that's what I say to all the girls. Like, you girls are pretty much still OGs. Like, like the game's 5, 6 years old?
6 years.
Imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years' time. Like the new CBA is coming in, like the girls, like a few of them are full-time, but imagine when the whole squad's full-time and they can train at a full-time level.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
And I guess you're, lucky in the sense, being in the army, you would have to do so much training as well. How do you balance your training with the army and training professional?
Like it's like hard. Like obviously full time work is hard. Like a lot of girls do full time. I'm quite lucky through Defence, I'm approved as like an elite athlete.
Great.
So when I'm in my footy season, I don't have to do like all the training. I don't go away when they do the big bush exercises up in Townsville. So I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful for Defence to like supporting me with my rugby league career. So I guess like for me, like I'm like a CFL in the army, so I run PT for my guy. So at least like I don't do the training, like so I can just focus on my own training that doesn't like impact on I guess rugby league.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy like running PT as well.
Yeah.
So.
100%.
Yeah. So no, I've been quite lucky, but it is like it does take a toll, like full time, I guess, and like we travel every weekend too. So it's like you're working full time, and you leave like say I leave at 3 and then get to training, and then you don't get home until like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
It's wild.
And then you start the day the next day. Like I wake up at like 6 or 5 every morning.
What's the story of you starting your rugby league career? Like you said, you started in 2017, 18. How did you get involved?
Playing for the Defence team.
Really?
So 2018, so I was posted up in Townsville that year. And then I played Army like 7s first.
Yeah.
And then from that I made the Army 15s. And then one of my coaches like, oh, you should come play like rugby league for like our ADF team. And have you heard of the national championships?
Remind me.
So it's when like Queensland, New South Wales city.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Versus like Queensland, New South Wales, Queensland like country city teams. And our ADF team was put into that comp.
Right.
And that was in 2018, and that's the first year they were scouting out for NRLW teams, and I got picked up from that competition.
And
that was my first time playing rugby league.
That is so wild to think about. And when you hit the scene, you went NRLW straight into the first Australian team,
yes.
yeah?
Yeah, debuted for Jillaroos the same year I debuted for rugby league.
Were you still learning the rules?
Honestly, my favourite thing I remember from 2018, obviously a winger, and then one when I think we were versing Warriors in 2018, Princey told me, oh, you had to go.
Scott Prince.
Yeah, Scott Prince. He was like, oh, you're going full back. I looked at him, I was like, I don't know how to play full back. And then he was like, all you have to do is catch and run. I was like, okay.
I guess I could do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was still learning the rules. Like I didn't know what a 40-20 was. Wow. I remember Ali, I think it was Ali that kicked it out, and then I went to hand the ball over to the next team. I was like, oh, we kicked it out. It's your ball. And they was like, no, it's our ball. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So but 2018 was a really good year.
What were your parents like? Were they supportive you going down the football rugby league path?
Yeah, like when I told my mum, because my mum was still in the army, she was like, oh.
She want you to stay in the army? Like, was that a conversation that you guys had?
If I wanted to stay in the army?
Like army or footy? Like, is there a preference or not?
It's more like she was like saying, oh, I don't think army will support it and you won't be able to do it. But as I said, army's been like really supportive. Like obviously when she found out like it was all good, then she was very happy and supportive. My dad was the same. Like he was really excited for me and everything. I think he was down watching me play in the national championship. So yeah, he was stoked.
What was your dad like growing up and your parents? Like were they always wanting to get you into sport? Like what was the story there?
Yeah, so well my mum and dad are separated. They separated when I was like a baby. Okay. So I had like I had a stepdad. Well he's not in my life anymore as well, but growing up with him, he was very supportive of my sport. I was a very big like tomboy, so I was always like a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
I've always loved like if obviously our chores in the weekend I was always out there mowing and then my sister's in the house like cleaning with mum, all that kind of stuff. So like he was very supportive of my netball and like even my dad like I love to talk about my dad. He's just a big inspiration, like what he's done. He's just one of those like people that will just like whatever he does, he'll perfect.
Really?
Yeah. So my mum's still in the army. My dad was in the army, and then he went to police.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then he was a police officer. He did SOG. So I don't know what SOG is, like special forces in the police.
Okay. That's pretty full on.
Yeah. And then he moved to Scotland. He was a firefighter over in Scotland.
Wow.
He came back. He was a paramedic. And then he's like a firefighter now as well. And he's just still killing it.
You said like he does some pretty impressive things. I'm
Yeah.
guessing these are the things that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's just like who he is. Just his mindset is just insane, and like, I guess I look up to him. Like I'm just like, oh, I want to be like you. Just like how you just want to keep bettering yourself and be better, like pushing yourself to the limit, because the reason why he keeps changing jobs because he just wants to like push himself, and like, it's insane.
Do you think that's because obviously like a lot of the values and the traits like we get from our parents? Yeah. I look at you as someone that's incredibly hardworking and disciplined. And so I imagine that your dad and your parents would be the same. Yeah. Is that some of the values that you pass down?
Yeah. Like my mum, she was the same. Like she's had like a tough run through army herself. Like when she joined as a female, it was like hectic because obviously that's when like first time like females were joining the army. Okay. And the job role she's in, she was the only female in the job role for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's
what's her role?
Ammo tech.
Okay.
So ammo technician. Yeah. So she's had to be like this like strong female, like so she's insane too. So and sometimes like since I'm in the army, and like she's been in the army for like 35 years now. So she joined straight like out of school, like 17, straight in the army. Sometimes when I go over, she'd like be talking to me. I was like, Mum, just talk to me like a mum. Like we've left work, like leave army talk out.
Just be my mum, please. Mum.
But I'm very grateful for my parents. Like they've been like such a big role in like who I am today. Even though I probably made my mum's life a little bit hard, being a little bit terror for high school, but I feel like that has made me the person I am today.
Yeah. I think this is obviously like a mental health and sport podcast, and I'm so appreciative of you jumping on. Like we had such an amazing morning. Like we did our gym session, we had a swim and a coffee down at North Burleigh, and so obviously very grateful to have you on. I think the biggest reason why I wanted to have this conversation is probably around body image, like and the conversation, the story about last year. I'd love to get your thoughts on it. For reference, for anyone who's listening, actually I'll let you explain, because Broncos put a photo up and then we had some trolls comment on the photo, which you ended up reposting. Could you shine a little bit of light on that story and where your head was at through that process?
So obviously last year it was our 2021 season, but we played in the 2020. Or was it? I forget what season.
2022, but you had two seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons. And obviously a photo got posted from me from the
Broncos.
Training.
So the Broncos, just a normal training photo.
Yeah, just on the Facebook, and it was like during the week, and then it was the weekend that obviously made my post, because it was my grandma that brought it up.
So you didn't know?
I didn't know.
I had no idea.
Because like I don't usually go through like comments or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and then my grandma, like I was over at my mum's house, and my grandma was over. She's like, "Oh, how do those comments make you feel?" I was like, "Oh, what comments?"
What comments?
Yeah. And then I had to look myself. I was like, "Oh, like, yeah." So at first, like it did like hit me a little bit. I was just like, and it honestly makes you feel like, oh, is this like what actually people like see me as? Or like,
you're having these thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. And like I was like, oh, do I actually look like manly, like all that kind of stuff, and like, oh, like is this not what I should look like? Anyway, and then I was just like, I kind of left it. I left it for that night, and then because I wasn't gonna say anything, I was just like, oh, what? I'll just leave it. And then it was actually I was like obviously Instagram. One of the girls I followed, she's like a very fit girl, beautiful, and she put a story up, and she was doing a few questions, and like she was saying like, oh, I don't like wearing bike pants because I'm embarrassed by like my big quads.
Yeah.
And then that kind of hit me. I was like, why? Like, why do you like feel like no one should be embarrassed by their muscles? Like, you're such a fit, beautiful girl. Like, you should show them off.
100%.
Yeah. And then so that kind of like really like clicked to me. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like make a post, and like I'm not that type of person that would want to like. That's why when I make my post, I put the names out and like it's screwed. Like I don't like to make like, I guess.
You don't want to bring the spotlight onto you, right?
No.
Like you're a very humble girl. Like, but the the response that you got from you posting that
yeah.
photo was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I didn't want to make the post like, oh, boo me, like feel like
I'm a victim.
Yeah, that's not the whole. I didn't want to make that post about me. I just wanted to like make the post be like for females, because obviously women's sport is growing and it's getting huge, and obviously for us girls, like we have to train, we have to go to the gym, get fit, and you should be so proud of what your body can do. And that's why I was just really passionate about like I need to make this post, and then just to show like no one should be ashamed and everyone should be proud of what their bodies can do.
And then the Bronx girls, you all got a photo together of you flexing your muscles, and then that photo went viral and the trend took off from there. Yeah,
it was actually from the RLPA actually.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like hashtag show your muscles, and like after seeing some of those photos from little girls, like there was this little girl I remember, like she was in her like little swimsuit and she was like flexing her muscles. Like it just made me so happy, and like this is what I wanted to do. Like just I guess show that girls should never be ashamed or like to go to the gym and feel like insecure about like being able to lift weights. Yeah. So like I guess I got overwhelmed by messages, and even like getting messages from like Sally Pearson, obviously Libby Trickett.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just like, what's happening?
Yeah, well, and you like your inbox would have got flooded just with like young girls, but
Yeah,
even the boys, like, dads as well.
Yeah. A lot of dads messaged me like saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you did this post, because like I want to show my daughter like that's how like she shouldn't be afraid to grow up and like be able to wanting to be fit and like strong."
I got a few of what the comments said here. Do you mind if I read a few of them out? Because it got me by surprise. Like when it first popped up, some of the comments was, "He's a good player," or "He's going to be a good player. Put a male head on that body. It's a male. He's a rig," which is just fucked, to be honest. Like, but then your comment, like your caption, was so beautiful, and I'll read it out. "I never usually read social media comments or let them affect me. However, I just want to say that no one should be ashamed or self-conscious to have muscles. It shows dedication and hard work. I love my muscles. Julia, XOXO. This shit happens." How it was so well said, like just for starters. And like props to you, because you've fully changed that conversation now and fully changed the narrative of what young girls are thinking about, right? Yeah. Huge. I'd love to talk about what it was like for you growing up in terms of body image, because you're 25, yeah. So we're very similar ages. When I was coming through, and obviously I'm not in the female space, but from outside looking in, I guess probably what we stereotypically thought to be attractive was probably like skinny, thigh gap, and I'm probably obviously nowhere near like probably credible to be able to talk about this, but that was like from the outside looking in, it was like the skinny look, and but now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but now, and maybe it's the circles that we knock around in, but the fit, people who are hardworking, people who are dedicated, it's kind of like almost the attractive look, right? Yeah. And I'm not sure, and like obviously everybody. Female body is a beautiful thing. Yeah. But shine a little bit of light on what it was like for you growing up. Yeah.
It was, you know how I mentioned I was a bit of a tomboy?
Yeah.
So yeah, growing up in primary school, I had a pixie cut.
A what?
A pixie cut.
What's that? What's a pixie cut? Do you know what a pixie cut is? I don't know what it is.
So I had short hair and then it spiked at the back.
Really? Yep. Can we get some photos of this?
Oh, they're buried far away. Yeah, so I was the biggest tomboy, and like, I was like, obviously always wore like sport clothes and everything. And even primary school, like obviously I was like always really good at sport athletics, and like always wanted to just play with the boys. I was out there playing like AFL and like that, I guess, a marking game, like the games. And I guess I guess kids and boys were like, oh, you're a boy, and like actually the term got thrown around like you're a shim.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously she, him.
Yeah.
But as I said, that didn't affect me, and like
even growing up, now you just brush it off.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just your personality?
I feel like I'm just like, Oh, it is what it is. Yeah, so I always like even growing up, I've always had like muscles. Like I've always been like fit growing up as well. And then I guess like as you said, like there's that image of what a girl should look like the bikini models, the thigh gap, skinny waist, and I definitely I wasn't like that growing up. And then I guess I've always like even I could honestly say like I'm still like a little bit like not insecure, but like
Really?
just still like think like I guess like even though I say like I'm so like proud, like I know I'm proud of my body and that kind of stuff, but like sometimes like I sometimes worry like if I look, I don't know, like
Still?
yeah, I don't know. It's just it'll always be like on my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting because from my point of view and from a lot of the boys' point of view, like that's something that I imagine a lot of guys will look at. And exactly what you said in your post, like hard working and dedication. And like, I imagine that's such an attractive trait in not only like for like males looking at females, but like that 100%.
Yeah.
So, and I look at the other side, I look at young girls coming through, like you're a role model.
Yeah.
Like you're a full role model for these young girls coming through. So, and that's why I love having these conversations with girls like yourself and boys who are, I guess, influential in the space where all our role models growing up were athletes, right? So if they can be seen having these conversations and I guess normalizing it, then it makes it okay for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So I look at young girls looking at you as such a bloody inspiration, which is so cool to see. Like, and I'm sure they're having the exact same internal dialogue that you've had or you're having, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like and I think it just comes down to I guess my personality. Like I feel like I've always been like people's opinions matter to me a lot. So I always like I guess I'm always like making sure like I always like take in people's opinions and like what they think of me, like kind of stuff. So
are like your friends and family or just anyone?
Anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. And like that's something I need to work on as well. Like I shouldn't let people's opinions affect me. That's just me. Like I just need to like learn like that like even for the people like I don't know like I shouldn't let those opinions affect me at all. But I do want to say like I am like very like proud of like who I am, my body and like kind of stuff, and it always makes me smile and happy when I do like see like girls or like even like I remember going to dinner one the work is just like, oh my God, I love your back and like, all that kind of stuff. And it does bring a smile on my face and like, it'd be like, oh, okay, like it actually like, it makes me feel good. Like it makes like reassures me, like kind of stuff.
Thank you for being so open about that because that is, I imagine that's pretty difficult to talk about. But no, you should be so proud of what you're doing in this space. I see you as someone who's probably leading the space in the NRLW in terms of being a voice for this. So, fucking well done because it's so like it's so cool to see, and I'm honestly so impressed. And it's not just young girls as well. Like I imagine a bunch of the footy boys reached out. I think I reached out. Like a bunch of the boys got behind it as well. Yeah.
No, they did. Jackson Hastings put like a Twitter post as well, and like I got obviously a few messages from the boys as well. Like they're all behind me, and, which is really nice too.
Were you always were you a confident kid growing up?
I would say I wasn't like not confident, but I wouldn't say like I was.
I guess what I'm trying to angle at is like I look at you and a lot of the girls as like. You guys have like such great bands. Like when I went to the Roosters. Actually, even watching you guys at Bronx NRLW, I came into the Bronx maybe a couple of months ago, and you guys were all like knocking around. And maybe it's just because you guys are so comfortable, but you girls look like you have so much confidence. And I know it's not the same for everyone, but I look at you as someone who's incredibly confident. Like you know, we went to Active this morning. You're knocking around with everyone. You're saying g'day. Like you know,
I love people. Like, I love people. Like I love. Yeah, like I feel like I hate being by myself. Like, I love people and like as I said, like I'm such a people person.
I guess the question or what I was angling at was like what like what gives you confidence? Or if you're a young girl that's probably sitting here that's a little bit shy, it's like, well, what can I want to be like Julia. Like, how do I get to be confident? Like, do you have any tips that you could share or anything that stands out?
I feel like just be yourself and like just I guess it's hard to like say be confident, but like just be like willing to like take that risk and that step to like really open out up to people, like and just enjoy life and just embrace the moment. I feel
I found that as soon as I was like comfortable with myself, and like it sounds weird to say, but like love yourself.
Yeah.
I was so much more comfortable with being myself, and I found that when I was actually genuinely being myself, other people would gravitate towards me anyway.
I think that's so important. Like, like I read something like before you can love people, you have to love yourself.
That's the quote. That's the clip. You know what I mean?
Like you honestly, because you can't be your true self if you're not in love. Like if you love yourself or appreciate yourself, because I guess if you're with people, they won't really know you, who you really are. So I think it's really important to like appreciate who you are, love yourself, know, like, as I said, exactly know who you are personally, and then that's when you're going to gravitate to your people.
Like your people, like the type of people that you want to generate. Like, right? Me and Paddy Carrigan had this exact conversation on our last podcast because when we came into grade, and it's probably, I'd love to get your thoughts on you coming in, but when we came in, this was, I guess at a time where you start training with all the people you look up to, right? So when I came into Bronx, I had like guys like Corey Parker, Darius Boyd, Sam Thaiday, Alex Glenn, Geordie Kahu, Andrew McCulloch, like the list is insane. Benny Hunt, like, and the most insane guy. And these are all the guys that I looked up to when I was a little kid. And so we talked about how scared and how nervous we were coming in as a 17, 18-year-old, and how we didn't speak. Like we would like say a little thing here and there, but like we were just so nervous and obviously not being ourselves. And then we even talked about it to the point where it actually changed our style of footy because we were scared to drop balls. We were scared to ball play. Not that I was a ball player by any means, but you know what I mean? But like we would change our style of footy because we didn't want to make a mistake and we wanted to be included by the boys. And then I love what you said about like as soon as you just sort of like take that next step and like sort of like put yourself out there a little bit, you start becoming yourself, and then the boys actually get to know you and you start gravitating to the right crew and it just everything opens up, right? How was it for you when you came into the NRL? Because obviously you were a little bit older, right?
I was, how old was I? 20, 21, 20?
So not that old.
Yeah. Well, how old was I? 25. Yeah, I would have been like 20. Yeah, 19, 20. I don't know. I can't remember.
How did you go with it? Because were a lot of the girls in similar situations to you?
I guess for me, it was hard because, one, I was coming into a team of players like Ali Brinkenshaw, Steph Hancock.
One of the greats, couple of the greats.
Yeah. And my thing was just like, I want to make sure I prove myself that I deserve to be here too. And then I guess for me, since I didn't watch them play or like grow up, I didn't know actually who they were. Like, but then getting to know them, like, holy, like, they're insane. Like, I want to like make sure I do a good job here and like, I guess, earn my spot and like prove to them that I do deserve to be here.
Was there any role models that you had growing up that you sort of clung to, growing up and even now? Like, who are the girls that you look at for inspiration?
Growing up, obviously, I didn't like have the rugby league.
That's what
girls.
I mean. But like that, it can be any sport or family or anything. Was there anyone that like you look towards and be like, you know what, that's what I want to be, or that's a path that I want to go down, or even just values? Was there anyone that stood out? It doesn't have to be.
Not really, no. Like I watched like heaps of sports, but like I never like really. There wasn't like the one person like when I was growing up, the one athlete that was like, oh my god. Like I think all athletes are like incredible.
Yeah.
I guess now, like, one outside of rugby league, I love Tia Claire Toomey.
Yeah.
Like, she is just an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, if I had, like, she just had a baby and she's killing it already. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, what's it about her that makes her so special?
Just her, because I've read her books, like her book, and her dedication to training and like that her discipline.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm like, oh, I don't know how I want to be on her level.
Yeah.
But for me, for rugby league, honestly, the person I look up to the most is Ali.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I guess, like, for this year and, like, bringing up social media again, like, I don't know if you've seen, like, a lot of people just say, like, oh, she's getting old, like, she needs to retire, like, kind of stuff. And I think, like, honestly, she's at her peak.
Really?
Yeah, and not just in her performance, like I obviously I didn't know Ali when she was like first started playing rugby league. She's told stories how she wasn't like the nicest person, and like she got dropped from a Jillaroos test one year, and it really like switched for it. And then she came back, and then that's why she was a captain, and like she just changed the mindset, changed the person who she was, and now she's like the biggest like role model like any girl could have. And I look up to her so much as like a leader and a person like on and off the field. Like she does, like, people just don't know how much she does for like the game, and like how much she'll like put her back on the line to like help anyone.
Really?
Yeah. And
can you give me an example?
Like if like honestly with anything that does, like what like has with the RLPA, even at the club, like if things going down, she'll like sort it out and like put it, like she'll
put her neck on the line. Yeah.
I think I need to tell her a lot more like this, because like I think she doesn't understand like how much she does make like an impact on people's lives. And I think she has so many more years to go. And like I think she's like from 2018 to now, she's at her peak form. And it's like sad to like, I don't know how she deals with it. Like I'm sure she reads the comments and everything like that. Like even like going into the Jillaroos like test this year, a lot of people were saying, oh, she shouldn't be here. But I was like, and
then you look at the show she puts on, it's like, well, there you go.
Yeah,
like there's your example. Like there's your proof right there.
And she doesn't let it affect her. Like I'm sure like, well, she doesn't show like it affects her. But I just, think she's an incredible woman.
You talk about Ali's like obstacles that she's overcome. Has there ever been, what's probably the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome, whether that's, off season, like off field, on field? Is there anything that stands out that you're comfortable with talking about?
For me, obviously a few injuries, nothing too crazy. Like 2019, I broke my ankle. I got back for the NRLW season, so that was fun. Then this year I had some issues with my hemis, so I missed like half my season this year, but got back for the back end.
Yeah, great.
But obstacles, not really. I've been like quite fortunate. Like as I said, like injuries happen. Like that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Like it's just for me. Like I think I was like telling I guess us media at Broncos about like my hemi, all that kind of stuff. Like I actually like the rehab process.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the first person I've ever heard to say
like,
that.
It obviously sucks, and not being with the girls. Like the rehab, like when you're just like in the corner on the other side of the field doing your own like little rehab running and like watching the girls doing their skills and training and laughing at each other, that gets a bit sad.
Yes.
But for me, it makes like my mindset different. For like the rehabs, like all I want to do is get my injury better. Right. So my mindset and dedication to fixing this injury goes up another level.
You dial in.
Yeah. And I love, that's the kind of mindset I love to have.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish I could just have that mindset the whole way through the season. Like, even like I do, but it's just next level when it comes to like, I want to get back bigger and better from this injury.
We talked about discipline before in Ali and yourself, and I touched on it earlier that I think you're incredibly hardworking, disciplined. How do you do it? What are the tips you can give, not just young girls, but me? Like, what's your process? Is it routine? Is it learning experiences? Like, I need a couple of tips to be more disciplined.
It's for me, like, I've always been that person. Like, I can't not do anything.
Okay, you'll go.
Yeah, I'm go. And I guess it's just my passion. I love training. I love being healthy. So I guess it's just, and I think the biggest step and the biggest advice I can give someone is you just need to start and then get into like a routine with it.
Okay.
And honestly, once you start a routine, it just gets easier and easier, and like it makes it like, I guess the first like few weeks could be hard, but then once you're in that routine, like you start just loving it and you get addicted to it.
Yeah. Someone said to me ages ago, when you're just starting, they just said, just do the easiest thing. Like if you want to go for a run, just put your shoes on.
Yeah.
Or like even going to training, like just turn up.
Yeah.
Like don't overthink it. Don't think
Don't
about.
put too much pressure on yourself.
Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just put your shoes on, and then you'll just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a little home gym in my place in Coogee, in Sydney, and I like same as you. Like I love training.
Yeah.
If I'm not training, my headspace is like all over the show, and my family and friends can attest to that. But there would be some days where I'd be so cooked. Probably overtraining a little bit. Training's a full coping mechanism for me.
Yeah.
But even like when I didn't want to do it, I just go in the gym, and I'd like the way I start most is like I'd roll and stretch, and then as soon as I roll and stretch, then I'm straight into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think exercise plays a role in mental health, like with your own mental health?
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like for me, with like my mental health, like I feel like I'm quite comfortable with my mental health.
Yeah.
Like I think I do put a lot of pressure on myself, like to perform. I guess that's like one thing is like I feel like sometimes I can be a bit hard on myself. Like if I don't like I guess do as well in the training session as I wanted to, then I'll be like a bit bummed, because I guess for me, like growing up, training, doing stuff, that was all I was really good at.
Yeah. Okay.
I get in like school, like my sister, she was like the brains.
Right.
she took all the brains.
Yeah. I don't believe that, but okay, we'll run with it.
And then I guess all I had was my sport, and I felt like, and it did kind of like, so I'm going right back. I guess a family member said like, oh, you can't pursue a career in like sport. Like, you need.
Really?
Yeah. So
how old were you?
I was like high school.
Did that stick?
It did. Yeah. And I guess like it did affect me when I started playing rugby league. I was like a little bit like not distant from that person, but like, you know, like it did like, I'm here and like you didn't believe I could be here. And I guess, as I said, like sport was the only thing I had, and all I wanted to do is like be good at it. And so I guess that's why I said with my mental health, like I put a lot of pressure on myself. Like I need to succeed. I need to be like the best at like running, be the strongest, be the fittest, and all that kind of stuff. So I guess for me, I just need to learn to like be a bit nicer to myself as well. So
I imagine it's a balancing act, right? Because I look at the top performing athletes in Australia. I look at you as one of them. I look at a lot of successful athletes, and they've all got that.
Yeah.
Like they've all got that pressure to want to be better, day after day, wanting to be better.
You're never good enough.
You're never good enough.
That's
and it's kind of like, it's weird. It's bad to say out loud.
Yeah.
And I get it. It is bad to say out loud, but it does like push you to be better and better, right? And I think you've got to have that balancing act because, you know, if you're kicking stones after every game, and I guess probably like linking your identity to that.
Yeah.
Like linking your identity to being a sportsman or woman. I imagine that's probably when it could tick over, but I don't think pushing yourself is a bad thing at all. It's just a balancing act.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, 1 year, I think it was 2020. So 2019, that's when I broke my ankle, and then I knew I wanted to get fitter and better for 2020. Yeah. So I was literally just like all in, like, I just wanted to like focus on my training, be healthy. So I was like cutting myself away from friends, which like, so I wasn't going to like social events because I was like, no, I need to train. I can't eat shit. I can't drink. Which now I learn like you can have best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I think that's very important to have. Like you still need to enjoy life. Like even though like, yes, like we're athletes and stuff, but you need to still live life. So that's like a big lesson I learned as well.
And it's cool that you learned that now at 25.
Yeah.
You know, instead of at like 30 and you've cooked the chook.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about probably one of your most memorable moments, and I'm putting words in your mouth, but the 2022 World Cup.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you felt when you got chosen and the time overseas.
Yeah. Obviously very honoured to be able to represent Australia, like obviously in the World Cup as well, and being able to go overseas was a really good experience.
What a trip! Because what was your stint over there? You did like months.
So we got over there, I think late October and like all the way through to November. To like late November. So like about like a month of footy over there.
Yeah.
Which was insane. It was like because I've never like travelled overseas before, so that in itself was like really cool like opportunity.
Yeah.
But no, like obviously good crew girls.
Yeah.
Like
you did a pre-camp before going in there.
I think it was a week or 2 weeks at the Goldie first.
Tough
life.
We love Goldie. We love the Goldie. Yeah.
Which was really good, and then hard. Like our sessions over here were hard.
Yeah.
Then flew over to England, and then.
How many games did you play over there?
So we played 3 or 4.
Okay.
So we're in a pool. So there was 2 pools for us girls. So you play your teams in your pool, and then after that, that's when you had the grand final. So it ended up being like 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, but you girls like smashed it. Like the scores were huge.
Yeah. Like you feel like bad like for the other teams like kind of stuff, but no, it was still. It
just shows the quality of Australia at the moment, right? And like the grassroots, those countries will come.
Yeah.
It's just a time. What was your favourite part of the tournament or the camp? Was there a standout?
Probably the grand final.
Yeah.
That the whole week leading up to the grand final, we're like, we're on here.
Yeah, girls were on.
The girls were on. Like our captain's run, I was like, we're on. Like
really?
It was the best.
I got goosebumps.
It was such a good captain's run, and it was like raining, but it didn't like affect us at all. And playing obviously. I got a mind blank.
You're playing.
Why do I?
It's right.
I can't remember the stadium.
Not Old Trafford.
Old Trafford.
Old Trafford. Yeah. There we got there. That's the Arepa. That's the Arepa drink kicking in.
Playing at Old Trafford was insane.
Never.
Even though the in goal was tiny. Did you see?
Nah.
It was like 5 meters.
Really?
Yeah. So you literally go over the try line, you had to put the ball down straight away.
Yeah,
and like obviously there was no like kicking game.
Yep.
For, to score tries.
Because you played before the boys, yeah?
Yeah.
So what were the celebrations like? Because you girls won. Like
it got insane.
Really?
I think half the girls were quite cut watching the boys. And then we all went on to like the field afterwards. Like, we're already like.
Let's go.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Like comparing to like obviously when we played New Zealand our pool games to like the grand final was just like hectic.
Wow.
Like we were a bit scrappy in our game when we played them in the pool, but then the grand final was like the best game.
So huge.
Yeah.
And you got to stick around. You did a little bit of travel
so
afterwards.
I did like I think like 2 weeks. 2 weeks of travelling afterwards, which was really cool. So I went with Shanae, Shanae Solka. So we just went travelling with each other. But a lot of girls stayed over too. So it was kind of cool. Like we weren't travelling all together, but like in every like little country, there was a group of girls.
And you all popped in together?
And then, so like it was really cool. It's like all different kind of girls. Like we got to see like, as I said, like it felt like we were just doing the whole trip together.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Life after footy. I know you're a little while away. You're only 25.
Yeah.
Will you go back into the army, or what are you thinking?
I'm not too sure. Like I've always wanted to do like an active job. Like like firefighters still. I'm like thinking about doing firefighting. So,
you and your dad are going to be like just popping into different industries. Hey.
Yeah. So that's been playing on my mind. I guess it just depends. Like so many opportunities can pop up too. Like I guess like the coaching roles, and like I feel like I still want to be part of rugby league.
Yeah.
Some way. Don't know what and how. But I feel like I don't know. I just want to do everything. That's the problem. I just want to do everything.
Yeah, saying no is such a huge thing, right? Especially when you've got so much opportunity. Like that's the biggest thing that I found stepping out of footy, right? To be honest, like rugby league and professional sport is so special.
Yeah,
like it is really special. Like the environment, the team, being around the girls, being around the boys. And just the whole atmosphere, like it is something. There's nothing like it, and I'm so glad that I got to step away from it, and then I guess like kind of come back into it and have a lot of friends and knock around with girls like yourself and Liv Koenig, and then even like a lot of the boys, and it is special.
Yeah.
And as shit it is to say, you'll have so much more opportunity just from being in professional sport. And from being a good person and being a kind person. Like I said that to Mac Horton, the Olympic gold medal swimmer. He won gold at Rio, absolute legend. And we were having this conversation when we were sauntering the other day. It was just like, it's wild that just being in professional sport, like other employers look at you as someone who's hardworking, honest, determined, like, and it's a small world, like sport's a small world. You get to know like the type of people you are, and you're such an incredible, like I rang Jamie Chapman, I spoke to Liv Koenig, I spoke to a bunch of the girls. That's what I do before like you come on, just to get a little bit of background. Like I know you pretty well, but like I'll sit down and just talk to them just about like what type of person you are. And the common theme was just like so incredibly kind and genuine.
Aww.
Yeah. Which is like, it's a credit to you. Like it's a no brainer. And even like hanging out this morning, lifting, you're like, let's go boys. Like, let's go. And I was like, fuck yeah, Julia, let's go. We're on here.
Yeah.
But no, you'll have so many more opportunities.
I know. Even like the opportunity I'm getting next year working at the school.
Great.
Working at Ipswich State High School, which would be good. Like I'm looking forward to like working with the girls and like being like I'm more excited to work in that mentor role.
So that girls rugby league team?
Yes. Yeah.
Sick.
So Ippy has like a awesome rugby league program for the girls.
Awesome.
So I'll be like, I guess like a sport coach for them, like helping them with the rugby league program, and then also attaching myself to the girls part of the rugby league program. So helping them with like anything like school life, and just like, I guess, the deputy principal wanted me to like be like, I guess the role model for them to like look up to and like to inspire. Like obviously, if you know, I definitely know through school I was a bit of a troublemaker and like discipline, like kind of stuff. I guess be that person, like tell them like, if you, I guess the work you put in now, like and like the being a better, like being a good person to begin with will get you far in life.
1,000%.
So I guess being that role model to the girls, I'm looking forward to.
That's so cool. And so you'll do the school and school footy, and then be with the Broncos next year. How long are you with the Bronx for?
I signed a 3-year contract, so it'll take me up to 2025.
2025. How good.
I know.
How are the girls looking for next season?
Next year?
What are you thinking?
We've got like pretty much, there's only a few new girls probably coming in for next year, so I feel like we got the same crew, which would be really good. Because
you guys had so much success 2 years ago, or
3 years, 2018, 2019, 2020.
We went back to back grand finals. Last 2 seasons semi-finals.
Our 2021 season we made semis, and then our 2022 season we didn't make semis.
But that would give you so much fuel for this year.
And then like this year we made semis, but didn't make it to the big dance. But like I felt like this year was like a rebuilding season. Like I felt like we had to rebuild from 2022. Yeah, forgetting what years we're up to. And having all the boys back, like Scott Prince, Mick Hancock.
Some of the greatest.
Like Mick Hancock's like my footy dad. I love him. It's good to have the boys back, and then I think what they're doing for like us girls, like the program, is very special. Like they just build like such a good culture, and they pick, as I said, they pick good people to be part of it first before like being like their abilities and like kind of stuff. They just want good people at the club. That's
the best thing that Bronx have. Like they're old boys that they get involved, like not only with the girls team but in play development. Like Ryan James is still involved, Alex Glenn, obviously Princey and Hodjo and a few of the boys in there. Jack Reed, like
love Reedy.
Oh my God, one of the absolute great. Andrew McCulloch's doing some game development for them now. Like some of the best crew, and that's what I think they just do so well. They keep those guys and girls. So there's a lot of girls who are still doing work with the club, And it just, obviously that's why they have so much success.
Yeah.
And they've gone through the tough years with the boys, and now they're on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I catch up with a lot of the crew from Bronx, just from back in my day. Like it's the same guys, like same guys back when I was like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. You know, they're the greatest. So, Julia, is there anything that we haven't touched on today that you'd like to talk about?
I think we covered a fair bit.
We covered a fair bit. I think we're almost at an hour.
Yeah.
But hey, no, thank you. Thanks so much for today. Like I had
awesome.
I had such an incredible morning.
Yeah.
I knew we would. Thank you again for being just like open, honest, and vulnerable. Like it takes a special type of person to be able to come on this platform, like a long podcast format, and just to not have, like when I spoke to you, I was like, is there anything that's off limits? And you're like, I'm an open book. You're like, talk to me about whatever you want. So no, thank you so much for coming on. I'm very appreciative.
No, thanks for having me.
You're the best.